There are things that happen in the Appalachian Mountains that just don't have any explanation. This takes me to my story today. It's about a guy named Tom and his wife Dana. So, Tom and Dana both were experienced hikers. They were the type of people who had a Jeep, had all the badges, all the gear. I mean, their whole life was, if they weren't working, they were camping. So they were experienced. And it's important to know this because sometimes when you get people going out telling stories that just aren't used to being in the woods, you just don't know really what they saw or heard. But when you start talking about credible people, that's when the stories start getting a little more creepy. So, Tom and Dana one weekend decided to go to the Appalachian Mountains, deep in the West Virginia foothills. They had read about this place on Reddit that's supposed to have this beautiful waterfall. So they figured they would go down, take a look, spend a couple, days checking it out, do what most people do when they can't kayak, fish, the whole nine. So drive down, everything was great. They get in the woods, first couple days, everything seems to be normal. Great time, no issues. But on the third night, that's when things started getting really strange. So Tom describes it that it was late at night, like 1, 2 in the morning. They were fast asleep in their tent. And they started hearing this strange noise coming from the woods. Now, this wasn't unusual because there's bear in the area and raccoons and other types of animals, so they were used to strange noises. But the way Tom described this was that the noise just had this eerie ring to it. Like it was just extremely unnatural. It didn't sound like anything he had ever heard before. So after about like an hour of going back and forth with this, he wakes his wife up and is like, Dana, you gotta hear this. Like, I'm freaked out. So naturally, at first, she starts kind of just, poking fun at him and just like, oh, okay, what's going on out there? It's probably just a bear. He tells him to grab the bear spray out the pack and grab his buck knife and, just to relax. And they put the food up in the trees, so there should be no issue. But as time goes on and the night rolls forward, the noise just keeps occurring. And it almost sounds like it's like somebody talking, but it's like gibberish. They can't make it out. So finally, after hours of not sleeping, he rolls over and is like, Dana, I gotta go out and check this out. I can't sleep and I'm freaked out being in this tent. So he unzips the tent, decides to go outside and takes his flashlight and starts scouring the area. But he doesn't see anything. There's nothing unnatural in the area, just the typical forest at night, typical sounds. Then he hears the noise again, but this time the noise seems closer, like it's coming behind this giant oak tree that they camped in front of. So it's maybe about 20 feet from their campsite. So he says to his wife, he says, look, I'm going to go over here and check this out. He grabs the bear spray, grabs his knife, and is just like, look, you stay here, and if there's anything, I'm going to yell to you, but I need to check this out. I can't deal with this anymore. This is really freaking me out. And I need to make sure there's nothing out there. So typical, he goes and he's exploring and again, he just doesn't see much. He goes around to tell his wife and his flashlight hits something. And it's maybe only now 8 feet from him. And he sees this figure behind a tree. But it's not any figure. It's his wife. And so he's like, honey, Dana, what's going on? Just no answer. Just kind of stared back at him blankly. And the more he's not trying to shine the light in her eyes, for obvious reasons, but he's like looking at this and it just doesn't look natural. Like it looks like her, but it just seems odd. So he's just kind of confused. He feels like, man, I just haven't slept enough. Maybe I had too many beers, something like that. But he gets back to the tent and he's like, honey, what the heck you doing out there like that? You scared me so much. Like I thought I was seeing stuff. And she's like, what are you talking about, Tom? I've been in the tent the whole time.